I believe it was about maybe 6 or 7 years ago. I guess you could say I had a Twitter conversation with Tim Wise, and I asked him about the murders of white farmers in South Africa. He acknowledged that it was a bad situation, but he said, of course, it had to be taken, I think something of the nature, it had to be taken into context, and it certainly isn't as bad as what the blacks suffered under apartheid. I asked him further questions. I don't remember what I asked him, but all I know is he ended the correspondence with me. This was in the days when people of celebrity status would engage with you, so long as I believe you were polite. Now, they don't engage at all. And I want to say, jump to a few years later, when I believe it was Michael Savage mentioned South Africa, and then Tucker Carlson mentioned white South African farmers. And then all of a sudden, the talking heads came out and said it was a white supremacist talking point. And that's all that it was. There was nothing more to it. Because, of course, white racists will make that a talking point and say things about it. Does that make the whole issue of South Africa illegitimate? I guess to them, yes, it does. If you don't observe and see that leftists don't want you to exist, because of course your right to freedom of speech in this country is your right to exist. And leftists question your right to exist as a free thinking and inquisitive human being. They want you to walk on eggshells and tread lightly. They don't want you to exist as a human being. Shortly a while ago, I believe it was it last week, when Andy Ngo spoke before Congress about Antifa violence, and Malcolm Nance said that Antifa violence is akin to sporting event violence, as though Antifa does not have an agenda and it is not politically motivated. And if you question Mr. Nance on his beliefs, you get the word white supremacist or fascist. and you get the cancel culture mob, which the establishment supports, because the establishment denies your right to exist. One of the great things about our country and our Constitution is it believes in the rights of human beings to exist freely. Other countries don't have that. The right of a human being to exist. And when people tell you that freedom of speech does not mean freedom of reach, they are denying your right to exist, the right of technology to reach the masses, and the right of arguments to be heard. When somebody says your freedoms come at the expense of my oppression, they are gaslighting you and telling you that your right to exist is not a right because it comes at my expense, which is nonsense. It's gaslighting nonsense. And you can choose to obey and be quiet because you're afraid, but you're not existing. Living as a slave and walking on eggshells is not existing. Recently on Facebook, after the Capitol incident on January 6th, someone tried to dox me and intimidate me because they wanted to deny my right as a human being to exist. People who strive for you to live in fear and watch what you say are denying your right to exist. On that note, I'll end it. This has been Brian with Transparency and Merit. Look up our site. We are trying to fix it up and have freedom of speech and freedom of thought. And I say to you, you have a right to exist as a human being, as a thoughtful and inquisitive human being. You have a right to exist. Thank you for listening. Like and subscribe to my channel, and if you agree with what I say, please share it.